Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Brandon Lester Fishing. I'm out here in my shop today. I'm loading the boat, getting ready for back-to-back events down in Florida. We got the Harris Chain coming up, and then we've got the St. Johns River Elite Series events coming up. So I'm getting ready to leave out tomorrow for those. But I just wanted to hop on here. Hadn't updated in a while. Wanted to let you guys know kind of how the season's going so far. Been a lot of kind of middle of the pack finishes for me. At this point, I've fished 2 Opens events, 2 Elite Series events. I've not had any bad events, really. I've just not had any really great ones. Been making good decisions. Been catching a lot of fish, just hadn't caught any great big fish. And that's really, that's tournament fishing. That's what sets you apart, is those bigger bites. And I've been through this. It's interesting because I've been through this in my career a couple of different times. And you just get to a point where, man, you just got to keep setting the hook. As long as you're making good decisions and you're getting bit on the water, you're doing your job. I'm weighing in 5 fish every day. So it's going to turn around. We're going to have a good one here coming up. I'm looking forward to getting to Florida, and I've done well down there in the past. But I wanted to go through the Toledo Bend Elite Series event and the Lake Fork Elite Series event. Both of those, the word slugfest is an understatement at both of those events. Both of them took over 100 pounds for a 4-day total. And as a matter of fact, at Lake Fork, the only time in history it took over 100 pounds to get, well, every guy in the top 10 ended up weighing in over 100 pounds for 4 days. So absolutely an incredible event. I finished in 59th at Toledo Bend, and I finished in 58th at Lake Fork. So like I said, basically middle of the pack finish, not terrible, certainly not what we're looking for, but good things are on the horizon. We're going to get it turned around. So let's go through how I caught them at each one of those events. Toledo Bend was straight up forward-facing sonar. I'll make no bones about it. I knew going into it, those fish were still very much in a winter pattern. A lot of bait out in the middle of those drains and stuff. And basically, if you found that bait, you put active target in the water, you scan around long enough, you'll find a bass. And that I found 3 or 4 different areas where I could get bit. And like I said, during the tournament, caught plenty of fish, just never caught those better than average fish. It was pretty easy in practice. Didn't work out in the tournament. That's tournament fishing. It happens. I've been there, done that before. But let's talk about the whole forward-facing sonar, the jig head minnow, that kind of thing, because that's what dominated that event. That's how Koya Fujita won that event. Pretty much everybody in the top 10 was either catching them on a jerkbait or some type of a jig head minnow. So I had kind of 2 different setups, and both these baits are kind of flying under the radar as far as the forward-facing sonar thing goes, but both of them are really, really great baits, and I've caught a lot of fish on them. This is actually the Live Target Ghost Tail Minnow. I'm going to try to hold it right up next to the camera so you guys can see it. That's the Live Target Ghost Tail Minnow. Little, small, slender profile. You can see that tail's got a lot of good action to it, a lot of good bend to it. And then this one is a little more of a shad profile. It's a little bit wider. This one's called a Live Target Twitch Minnow. This one's 3 3/4 inch long. Both of them are 3 3/4 inch long, as a matter of fact. I've got this one on 3/8 ounce mustad jig head, but just a really good shad profile, you know, and that's what you're going for. You know, if you're around bait in that late winter pattern, there's going to be bass around. I'm talking you're out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, some of these fish are just out there in the abyss, and it's pretty incredible where we're finding fish and what we're learning about fish now, you know. I know there's a lot of negative buzz surrounding forward-facing sonar right now. I have not made a video about that. Obviously, you guys follow my channel. You know, I use Lowrance Active Target. I use it for crappie fishing. I use it for bass fishing, obviously. And it's changing the game in the sport of bass fishing, no doubt. A lot of negative buzz around it right now, and I have my opinions about it. And if you guys would like to know, drop it in the comments. I'll make a video about it if you guys want to hear my thoughts about it. But I've just tried to stay away from that because I try to keep it, you guys know me, I try to keep it positive. It's bass fishing, man. You know, we all love it. And whether you're for or against forward facing sonar, There's kind of being a line drawn in the sand right now, and I hate to see that. I really do. I hate to see that because the love of fishing is what draws us all together. But if you guys would like to know my thoughts on it and where I think it's going, I'll make a video about it. So drop it in the comments if you'd like to see that. But that was basically my two setups at Toledo Bend, and I played around with some different baits, you know. But these two baits right here are really, really great baits. Once again, both of them live target baits. You can find them both at midwayusa.com. Great little baits, and they make them in some really good colors and super, super lifelike. And that's what you're seeing with this whole jig head minnow craze. The most lifelike bait that you can get, that's what you want. So that was Toledo Bend. Like I said, I basically did that the entire tournament, the entire practice, because I knew that was how it was going to go down. Now, let me say this. After that Toledo Bend tournament, at the end of the second day, after I had stared at active target for 2 days, I didn't want to do that at Lake Fork. And I felt like at Lake Fork, I would have an opportunity to fish the way I really wanted to fish, like on the bank. Fish were further along at Lake Fork. Fish were starting to spawn at Lake Fork. I saw that. I picked up on that early in practice. So I fished my way at Lake Fork, and I still finished basically the exact same 58th. But I did have a really, really good first day, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video. At Lake Fork, I had 27-14 the first day. That's actually the biggest bag of bass I've ever weighed in Elite Series competition. But I was only in like 21st place, I think. They absolutely blasted them. The top 12 or 13 guys after the first day had over 30 pounds. Lake Fork is just absolutely phenomenal. And some of that's got to do with the forward-facing sonar thing as well. But I caught all my fish at Lake Fork, and I'm going to drop some video toward the end, so you guys stay tuned for that. But I'm gonna show you guys what I caught them on that first day at Lake Fork. It was these two baits right here. I caught them on a big spinnerbait, and I caught one 510 on a popping frog. This spinnerbait right here, it's kind of a unique deal, and it's a very small window, and that's why I didn't catch them any better than what I did on the second day. But one of my favorite ways to catch them in that early spring, 55 to 58, maybe 60 degree water, is a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait. This is a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait. It's made by a buddy of mine, Danny Mullins, Mullins Custom Tackle. You can find him on Facebook. He's in Elkmont, Alabama. He's not far from my house, but that's a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait with an Indiana blade. He just makes a really good spinnerbait. I mean, it's got the right size wire. You get maximum vibration. It's made with really good components. It's made with a 5/0, I believe, mustad hook. He puts mustads in every one of his baits. And that's the whole key to a good spinnerbait is premium components. It's got a gold Indiana on the front. It's got a silver Colorado on the back. But that's how I caught a 610, I believe, and I caught a 711 on that first day, and several other key fish on that 3/4 ounce spinnerbait. Just going down the bank, man, just chunking and winding. It was cloudy, it was windy. I picked up on that on the last day of practice. They were eating that thing really well. But shallow fishing is very fickle, and this is a very fickle bite. And when that sun comes out and you don't have any wind, you have to know when to put it down. I tried to force it for too long on the second day, and it burned me. I had a tough day on the second day. That's shallow fishing. That's just the way it is. I only had 13 pounds or so. Oh, I needed that one bad. let's talk about the frog because that was pretty fun. I caught a 510. I'm gonna drop video in here.
Freaking awesome. That was awesome. God, that was oh, jeez, I seen her make a big old wake over there.
The water temperature was 55 degrees, and those fish, we had a warm spell, and then it cooled off, and those fish were still up there spawning. And this was a big male. I saw him push something off a bed. I threw this frog over there, actually this exact frog, just a green pumpkin colored popping frog, and he swallowed it. Now, let's talk about frogs a little bit. Obviously, this is a popping frog. Typically, I will throw, basically any other time, besides when they're spawning, I will throw the live target walking frog. They make it in 3 different sizes. This is the medium size, the 55 size. And that's a great frog. It's super soft. One of the best frogs ever made as far as hookup ratio. It works really well. But when fish are spawning, I like a really good popping frog. And so that's why I was throwing that one as opposed to the live target frog. But that live target frog is really, really good. I carry several different ones in the boat, but when they're spawning like that around vegetation, I like that popping frog because it spits a little bit, and I feel like it gets those fish's attention better. I threw the big spinnerbait on my 7-foot medium heavy Mustad Instinct rod, 20-pound vicious, 100% fluorocarbon. This one was on the 7.6 Mustad Instinct Elite. Super good frog rod. That's what I threw the frog on. I threw it on 60-pound vicious no fade braid 8-to-1 reel. My setup on the jig head minnows was the 610 Mustad Instinct medium light, 7-pound vicious braid tied to a 8-pound vicious 100% fluorocarbon leader. And that was the setup on that. Jig head size, it just depends on how deep I was fishing, anywhere from 3/16 all the way up to 3/8. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you watching. Like I said, I appreciate all the support, and we are going to catch them in Florida. We're going to turn this thing around. Like I said, making good decisions. Been fishing a lot here at home, and good things are coming, I can tell. I love this time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. Turkeys are gobbling, bass are spawning. I'm going to leave a link down in the description, or better yet, I'm going to leave Danny's phone number down there in the description. And you guys can call him if you'd like to check out some of these spinnerbaits. The live target frog, the jig heads, the minnows, all that stuff you can find midwayusa.com. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys next time right here, Brandon Lester Fishing.